Sacred moments. Sacred moments with you. Sacred moments. Yeah. Enter in sacred moments. I'm here in this space on this day with you. I'm here in this sacred space witnessing the morning dew. Sacred moments. In voice and in victory, we will share our thoughtful view, conversing and even challenging things we thought we knew. Sacred moments. With expectancy and excitement is this time set aside. Won't you enter in with us? And come on, let's take this ride. Riding the waves of wonder and whimsy. We're not here to do silly or flimsy. We're sacred moments. We are here open to listen and engage and converse. You know I'm going to keep the triune God in sight and first. I'm here with you on this holy mountain of meaning, sharing vows and syllables, discussing powerful gleanings. It's sacred moments. With songs and sonnets and poems and prose, this is not just another one of those radio shows. It's sacred moments. It's sacred moments with me as your host, here to clear and create and commune with you from coast to coast. It's sacred moments. Enter. A very good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
All right, got to turn my radio down. A very good morning, Khadija Alter Ego. It's good to see you.
It's good to see you.
Yeah, yeah. I love, love, love our pre-show conversations.
I know.
Oh, audience, if you only you knew what goes on before the show. I can imagine like having a talk show like on TV and just all the stuff that you have to do to get ready,
You
you
need
know.
like a behind the scenes.
Yeah, yeah. I love
Mhm.
I love like when they show it's a couple of like shows I watch and it says like turn here to see what went on before and after the show. And I
Yeah.
really enjoy them because they're like to me they're really like the raw of what the show is like. So yeah.
Hmm.
So audience, you're missing out. But if you want to know, you could always ask us. We might tell you
I might look into that.
behind the scenes. That could be like a whole
Hmm.
show, right?
Yeah. Well, especially with the stuff we talk about.
Yes. Like after dark.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever you want to say it. Let's get it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you look lovely again this morning.
Thank you. I tried a little bit this morning. Put my glasses
Yeah.
on with
Okay.
some little serum. So I'm home and I don't have my ring light. So my lighting is off. I'm looking a little ashy, but I'm not really ashy. Just so y'all know, I'm not really ashy. I'm very chocolatey, but I'm working with a lamp. So
Okay. Okay. And I'm just working with sunlight today.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Didn't even get myself together to set up either. But you know what is
Mm,
good because this is what life is about. Everything is not perfect, is it?
nope.
Mhm. Mhm. Yes. So good morning, America. Good morning, Africa. Good morning, Istanbul. Good morning, Indonesia. Good morning, Jamaica. And good morning all across the globe. We are glad that you are here. We have another edition of Sacred Moments. We have been going strong since I believe July
Mm-hmm.
of 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it is so good. I'm happy to see you guys chiming in and saying good morning. Um, um, we are awaiting a guest, and we decided that we would just go on. If our guest comes on, we are hoping that she will. But if not, we're just going to conversate with you. So put some things in the post and chat, things you might want us to talk about. Any questions, comments, concerns? How was your week? What shows have you been watching on TV? What's your favorite artist? I'm just throwing stuff out there. Like we want to talk with you this morning as we talk with each other. So please throw some things out, and we'll comment about it because then you become the show, and that
Mm-hmm.
sounds good to me.
So, how was your week? You always ask me that first. I said, I'm gonna ask you first this time.
Yeah, this week was filled with a lot of different things. Some were really like really good, and some personal stuff I ain't talking about right now. But but if you could tell in my voice, that might
Mm,
give you a clue.
okay.
And then I gotta stop laughing. And I finished my classes this week. I'm a teacher at a Bible Institute, and our last class was Thursday. And I'm going to tell you, I'm glad that this semester is over because it's been a long semester. It was a challenging class, subject wise, and challenging in, the interaction sometimes with students. But I'm glad to be done. Did my grading, sent my grades in, and I'm off until September. So that was
Yay.
yes,
That's
yes,
good. Completing something, even if it
yes.
was hard, is a good thing because some people don't make it to the end. So that's good.
Now that's a great point. Some people do not make it to the end.
Mm.
The teacher almost didn't make it to the end,
Really?
but she did. But she did. Oh, do we have a question that came in?
Yeah. Chris said, how many women shoveled yesterday? I did
Oh,
not. I did not shovel. Um, yeah, I did not. I used to back in the day, like when the kids were younger, like I would take them out to play in the snow and then I would shovel, but I don't got time for that. Even if it's nobody here to shovel for me, I'll find one of these little young. Some they still do come around here sometimes, not as
really?
often. Yeah,
Mm.
not as often. And it's usually it may be a kid, but for the most like the last couple snowstorms we had, it's like the older guys. The
Yeah,
same
yeah,
ones that
yeah,
come
yeah.
that want to cut your grass. I don't know where the young kids are. They only out here shoveling, try to make that money, but Deborah
Yeah,
says she shoveled.
because here we go. When I was younger, when we had cold heat,
Oh God.
go back a couple shows and you'll get I'm saying that. But when I was younger and we had cold heat, I'm gonna keep saying that. People would come by, guys would come by and knock on your door and say, "Miss, you want your payment shoveled?" And you gave them a couple dollars. But
Yeah.
I know that Chris shoveled because I heard her little what Chris, since you're on, you said that you shoveled and then something happened after you shoveled. I live in an apartment complex, so I did not have to shovel, thankfully. But I have done it in the past as well. Oh, Jackie, she didn't. Oh, it was most of y'all didn't have to. We're the kids trying to make money. I'm telling you, it's a good
Mm.
hustle, Deborah. It's a good hustle. You could make money, money, money. $20 a house. So yeah, those that didn't go out yesterday.
Well, our
Yeah.
guest is here in the green room, so we're gonna
Oh,
let Miss Michelle introduce her, and then we'll bring her on.
okay. All right. Well, thank you, audience, for your interaction. We'll keep doing things like that, and we're glad our guest is coming in. And
He'd rather do homework than shovel. Now that's crazy. Yes, Carrie. Some guys
oh my
came by, got answered prayers, and
wow,
some do ask
good.
that I need salt after I was done. See, just lazy. That's why I said real quick. That's why I made that post. We need a girl gang, right? We need to go find a farm somewhere. And we only talk to the men. We need to go into town and get some supplies and stuff like that. Other than that, like you just out of pocket at this point. Like
Mm,
why are we out here shoveling? You need to be coming around the little boys. Like I don't know what's going on. You make some money, help out the senior citizens, the women. Like what's going on?
mm-hmm.
Come shovel our snow. I want a girl gang. Get some guns and stuff.
Wasn't that the Wonder Woman movie where it was all women and
Yeah,
they
well,
would,
not like
yeah.
that. They kind of was like, you can't come on here at all. If you come, we gonna shoot you with arrows. I mean, not that
Oh yeah.
hardcore, but just like when I feel like it, like that.
Oh, you okay? Y'all can come over when we ready, and then
Y'all can't come over. We'll come see y'all. We'll come into town
oh
or
wow.
whatever's going on. Yeah, something like that. I haven't worked out all the details yet, but we're gonna figure it out because
Let me know. Let me know when you do. Wow.
okay.
Okay. So we ready to bring on our guests.
Yep.
Okay. So this morning, good morning, good morning.
Good
We are inviting
morning.
to the conversation to sacred moments. I'll say one of my spiritual daughters. I mean, she has a lot of spiritual mothers. It's probably, I mean, she probably got like a lot because that's the bad she is. But this is Jasmine Andrews, and she's just a beautiful spirit. She has so many things about her that I really love, and she does my hair sometimes, and we'll talk a little bit about that because one of the things that I like is that when she does my hair, it's not just about my hair. It is about like soul talk and spirit talk and intergenerational exchange and things like that. So, as Black people and Black women, we have that way of touching that's more than just physical. It goes deep into the soul. So, we are happy to have her here all the way from across the country. And I want to talk about how cold it is here, there, because it is cold here. So, good morning. Welcome to the show. How are
Good
you?
morning. I am good. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. I am so excited.
And you get to meet my other spiritual daughter, even though I couldn't help but
Yes.
Khadija Alter Ego Phillips. Yes.
Hello,
So
hello.
there
Yes.
you go.
It is such a pleasure to meet you. Such a pleasure.
Nice to
Yes.
meet you. Glad to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Yes, yes, yes. Now, are you in a different time zone?
I
Was
am. I am
okay,
on Central Standard Time. I'm only an hour behind from Philly. Um,
okay,
I'm in
okay,
the middle of the country, yeah. So I'm
okay.
Central. Yep.
Yeah. And
Yep.
how cold is it there? Is it
This morning, it is, let's see, it's usually in the negatives. Right now, oh, we're actually doing good today. It is 17. Um,
okay? There you go.
so that's good.
Wow.
It's good. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I need to move somewhere where there is like warm weather all the time. I was thinking Florida, but I don't want to get in trouble. I'm not moving there for many
Yes.
like,
Yes.
without putting
Yes.
myself in trouble. Like, so maybe like an island or something like that if it's like
Yes.
out the country, and I'll just come back. Yeah, where Khadija can make her girl farm. We can do
Right.
it in an island somewhere near a beach. Too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So we know we have a very serious conversation. So we want our audience to understand that we do have a trigger warning. So we want you to be aware that there may be some things that we talk about that may trigger you. I know, kind of that's how it happens for me sometimes when we get
Mhm.
into these deep conversations. But we really wanted to just have Jasmine come on and share as much of her story as she like, and also like where you were, where you are, and where you see yourself going, because I see great and mighty things going forward. But so if you want to share a little bit of how much and how little, and give us time to kind of connect and talk and ask questions here and there. Khadija is excellent at asking questions that I didn't
Okay.
even think of asking. So
Okay.
um, yeah.
Yes. Well, I'll just start off with I am a Philly native, although I live in Minnesota. I am Philly raised, 215 forever and ever, forever and ever.
Yes.
Um, I am a preacher's kid on both sides, my mother and my father. Um,
Mm,
and my experience growing up, I grew up very sheltered. My mother's an educator, so she didn't play any games with us. So
mhm.
I had a very good, like, foundation in regards to childhood. My life shifted though when I became a teenager. When I was 17, I experienced my first craziness, the beginning of it all. Um,
Mhm.
I was sexually assaulted when I was 17 by a serial rapist in Germantown. And that experience was very life changing. I was a junior in high school, getting ready to become a senior.
Mm,
This was maybe, I want to say, my last couple weeks of being a junior, and maybe finals week. It was finals week. And I was dating someone at the time, and he was a good guy. He was an okay guy. My mother, being who she is, she was very strict, and at the time I had a curfew, and I had to be home during a certain, like at a certain hour. And I was with my boyfriend at the time, and I was not willing to be late for curfew. I was not
yeah.
Mhm.
willing to be late. I just didn't play with my mom like that. So it was either I wait for the bus and be late, or I take a chance and I walk home and I know I'm gonna be on time because I can power walk or I can run. So it wasn't I didn't live too far. So I took the chance at 12:30 in the morning in Germantown and decided to walk home. Probably one of the worst decisions of my life. Um,
Mm,
and I walked home, and a man grabbed me, who I didn't know, at Lonnie Young, and he raped me. And it was so definitely an outer body experience. I shut down. I shut down. When I got home, I told my mom. I actually told my sister at the time what happened. She wasn't living with us. She was living with my dad. Um, and I told my sister, and I begged her not to tell my mother. And it wasn't that
mm,
I was, I was, I was afraid to tell my mom because of the fear that I had uh, of my mom. Just a respect thing. It wasn't. I didn't think that she wouldn't believe me. I don't know what it was. I was
mhm.
really afraid to tell her because I know she's going to get justice, and I just didn't want it to be like a huge. I don't know what I thought, at the
Yeah.
time.
Mhm.
So, but I told my sister, and she was like, "Well, I hope I'm going to tell mom." And she was
Mhm.
like, and I was like, "What?" So my sister is my best friend, and I
Oh, that's
was
great.
like, yeah, I was like, "You gonna tell mom?" Like, I literally just like confided in you about this, and she was a stickler. She was like, "Sis," she was like, I'm telling mommy, like
Mhm.
I just like I'm telling mommy, but it didn't matter. Um, she didn't even have to tell her because my mother has the Holy Spirit. And she came
Mm,
to my room and she said, "There's something wrong with you." And I was like, "What?" Like we didn't have so like when I came in the house, we didn't have much of an interaction. She was sleeping downstairs because it was hot. And she was like, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "I'm fine." And I went up to my room, and after I got done talking to my sister, my mom opened up my door and she said, "There's something wrong with you." And I said, "There's nothing wrong with me." She said, "There's something wrong with you." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, she knows." Like
mhm.
I never lied to her because she can feel it, she can sense it. So I was like, Mom, like I don't want to tell you, I'm kind of, like afraid to tell you. And she made me feel comfortable enough, to where I could tell her. She was just like, Jasmine, like I'm not leaving your room until we have a conversation because I know that there's something's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And so I finally told her. Um, and that's when it all just everything shifted. My first experience with if you guys ever seen like Law and Order SVU, um, the Special Victims Unit, that is a real thing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
my I the level of, I think I was embarrassed more than anything. I felt
Mm-hmm.
very embarrassed because I had to take HIV medicine. I had to take all of these things that like wasn't my fault. You know what I mean? Like I had
Yeah.
to go
Yeah.
through all of this stuff, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
none of this is my fault. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so that was a really, it was a rough experience, but I'm grateful for my family, because they held on to me. They held on to me.
Yeah.
um, and
Yeah.
so my mother, at the time, I was 17, so she required for me to go to therapy, and so I went. I didn't like it, but I went because that was my mom and I was living in her house. So I had to
Mm-hmm.
go. I went to therapy, and I stopped when I turned 18 because of my own stubbornness. It didn't have to do anything with therapy. I hated talking about it. I hated facing it. I hated dealing
Okay.
with it. I
Mm-hmm.
hated I hated how it made me feel. I hated how it made me feel. So me
Mm-hmm.
being stubborn when I was 18, I stopped.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and shortly after that, I wound up in a relationship with a guy who was abusive. And I dealt with that for 4 years. And I will say, the result of me not um, dealing with my trauma and dealing with my hurt, I do believe that, as a person who goes through things, we're responsible for what happens after the fact. We're not responsible for what happened, but how we interact and how our lives are after the fact, we're responsible for that. And
Let me put a pin right there because I don't want anybody in the audience missing that powerful statement. And it you are not responsible for what happened, but you are responsible for the healing that you should get for
yeah,
yourself. And
yeah,
we are responsible for
yeah,
that in
yeah,
ourselves.
yeah,
So I
absolutely.
appreciate that. And I wanted to make sure that the audience heard that point.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah, I
Okay.
yes.
wanted to. I had a question. I know you said that you were trying to get home on time, um, and that horrible thing happened and derailed everything. Did you make it home on time? Like, was that an indicator to your mom, like, hey, something is wrong? And how were you able to escape? Like, how did you get away? And just
Um,
so you know, I have actually a similar situation: rape in high school, and then abusive marriage. But I was there for 10 years, so
wow.
I totally relate to the. I said the same thing to my friend. I went to my friend's house. I said, "Please don't tell anybody." And she was like, I'm telling. I'm calling your dad, like right now."
Mhm.
So it's
Mhm.
kind of like you said, it's embarrassing in a way. You feel like I just don't feel like all the hoopla that's about to happen. I don't feel
Yeah,
like the police coming. I don't feel like them asking you questions.
yeah,
Um, and then you continue that feeling, and as you go on, you don't want to talk about it. So, and I
yeah.
appreciate you going to count. I never went to therapy for it, so
Yeah, my like I said, my mom, she didn't play with me. She
yeah.
just did. She was not she was determined to make sure that that experience was not going to truly change me, because I know a lot of people who go through that and they can never bounce back. They can never
Mm.
recover from what happened to them. And as a matter of fact, so I did mention that he was a serial rapist. I was the oldest of the four women that he
Oh,
raped. He
wow.
was a 12-year-old. Yeah, she was. There was a 12-year-old. There was a 14-year-old. There was a 16-year-old, and I was 17. And I was the last. I was the last of the Mohican. And I truly believe it's because God answers prayers. Um, I did make it home. I didn't make it home on time, and I think that that's why my mom was like, something's
Yeah.
wrong, because I never missed my curfew ever. I never missed my curfew. If I was early, then that was one thing, and if I was on time, then that was something. But to be late, that was never a thing. So I'm sure she could pick up, that something was wrong. When he sexually assaulted me, so it happened at Lonnie Young Recreation Center outside on the field. And after everything went down, he kind of just was like, he did have a weapon. I was held at gunpoint while this happened. And he kind of just was like, listen, you can go home. Just don't take Shelton Avenue, take Worcester, and don't look back. I will never forget those words. He told me to do not look back. And he said if he looked back, he knew where I was going. He was going to kill me and was going to kill my family. And so I think for me, more than anything, the rape was hard, but threatening to kill me and kill my family and having to walk across an entire field and not look back because like that was just like, oh my God, like it was just, yeah. So I was able to like get free. What's so interesting is before I left, my ex, he had given me a weapon. I had a taser on me because he knew how bad Germantown was. And he was like, okay, like if you want to walk home, like, okay. He was like, I don't want you to, walk home empty-handed. And so I spoke to him the entire time that I was going home. So he heard everything that happened. So it wasn't just me that experienced that. He experienced it with me on the phone. And he heard, like when the guy grabbed me, he heard everything. And as all this is happening, I have my, like my headbuds, my earbuds in, and all I can hear is, pull out your taser, pull out your taser. But when somebody has a gun to your head and they have a gun to your stomach, I was not thinking about like a taser. I wasn't what
Right, that's okay. Right.
yeah,
right.
like what can a taser do at this moment? Nothing. Like nothing. So a lot of times when it first happened, I blamed myself a lot because I felt like, if I didn't walk home, it was okay, to be late. I could have just, waited for the bus. I could have pulled out my taser. I could have did a lot of, things. But I mean, thank God I'm healed from that. And I know, that I'm not, that it isn't, that it isn't, my fault. But to answer your question, I truly believe that my mom just knew something was off because I was late. And I was able to walk away and not, necessarily get physically like hurt in that way. I did get raped, of course, but he didn't pull the trigger. So
Yeah.
How was your relationship with your boyfriend after that?
Oh my God, 4 years, 4.5 years. I am a creative. So I do hair, I sing, I write, I do a lot of different things. And so at the time what was I, 18, 19? This was 2016. I was singing with a group at the time, one of my friends, and he was we needed a musician, and he had a musician, and he was like, we have a new keyboardist, and we were on our way to a gig, and our keyboardist was living in Delaware, and I had a car at the time, and the leader of the group kind of needed someone to go pick him up. So I offered to go pick him up in Delaware, and I picked him up. And this was my first time meeting him, and he was a really nice guy. In the beginning, very, very, very nice guy.
Wait, no, I'm talking about the high school boyfriend, the
Oh, the
boyfriend
high
that you
school
had.
boyfriend.
Yeah,
I'm
like how did that work out? Like after him experiencing that with you, and then you
um
going through, just trying to deal with the trauma. Like, did you guys remain friends or stay in a relationship?
we are still friends to this day.
Okay, good.
He is a great guy. Of
Mhm.
all of the men that I've dated, I didn't experience any like craziness with him.
Mhm.
I do feel like we broke up because of my own my own stuff.
Mhm.
It was hard for me to see men in the same light after that. Even
Mhm.
him. I just, I couldn't do it. I just was like, I do love you and I respect you for, going through the things that you went through with me. But it's hard for me to even date. I can't date. I can't do any of those things. And I lost my virginity when I was 14. So I was already sexually active. I was already, just doing stuff. I was already doing stuff. And so with me and him, it's so crazy. I don't think I've ever shared this with anybody. The same night that I was sexually assaulted, I had sex that same day with my boyfriend that same day. And so it was just I couldn't it was too much, it was too many
Yeah, yeah.
emotions. It was
So
too
you
many.
have that juxtaposition between
Mhm.
a loving moment and a
Yeah.
horrific moment
Yeah,
all within. Yeah,
it
yeah.
was just too much. And
Hmm.
again, I don't think it didn't have anything to do with him. I just was like, I can't do this. This is not
Mhm.
for me right
Yeah,
now. And so he understood, and we broke up, and I was by myself for a little bit, maybe 3 years, 2 years, 2 years.
yeah,
I was able to experience undergrad and college, and all that good stuff. And that experience was great, but I still had all of that trauma on me.
yeah,
Yeah, I had a lot of that on me. And I will say, I wish that I didn't stop therapy when I was in undergrad, because I feel I can agree that trauma in regards to sexual assault um, can cause some hypersexuality. Um, and there was a
yeah.
time when I literally, like, I just wasn't, I wasn't doing anything with anybody. But then there was a time where I felt like I always had to have sex.
Right. Yeah.
So it was just it was
You were working out your trauma, to be honest.
literally,
I mean, and
literally.
that's something that we don't really like to talk about. But you were, if you're going to be alive and you had trauma, whatever it was, you are going to be working that out.
Yes.
Mhm.
I have a friend that I talk to about, it's not necessarily, I don't want to say it because about a trauma that happened to me when I was little. And I'm still like, when I talk about it, I still feel ashamed about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm in my sixth decade of living,
Mm-hmm.
and I have to work through that every single time I bring that conversation up.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't kind of make sense, but
Mm-hmm.
it does make sense
Mm-hmm.
because that is part of who you are. Like, we're all of that going on at the same time,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and you're still working through it. Is that right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. So
Absolutely.
we want to just, because of time too, I know that we want to talk about, not how you met the abuser, but how you work through that relationship, and then right where you're at this moment.
Okay. He we just it started off very, very well. We connected on a whole nother level.
Did he know about your rape?
He did. He did.
Okay.
I was always very vocal about that. Even when it was hard to talk about it, I was very vocal about that, because I didn't want guys to guess about that, or because I personally feel like that's something that needs to be, shared,
Shared in a
because
relationship.
rape and sexual assault, any type of trauma changes you. And so I gave him the benefit of the doubt and let him know, like, hey, this is my experience, this is what happened, this is why I might act the way that I act, this is why I might do things the way that I do things. So I did give him that prerequisite, and he was okay with that. Like I said in the beginning, we connected beautifully via music. He was a keyboardist and I was a singer, and so we had it, the gel that we had, the chemistry that we had. Even still to this day, I will never take that from him.
Okay.
He was an amazing musician, but when it turned left, the very first time he put his hands on me, um, I was shocked. I don't even remember what the situation was. I just remember being shocked, and I kind of just was like, you just hit me, like you just hit me."
I've had that situation. Like
Yeah,
what?
like yeah, I was like, wow, like you just hit me.
Hmm.
And what's so crazy is I didn't know. Um, Again, I was with him for 4 years, but it took me up until year 3 to really realize that I was in a domestic. I never
Okay.
even knew or knew the signs or just anything like that. I never knew that what I was experiencing. I knew that what I was experiencing wasn't healthy, um,
Hmm.
because I didn't like the way, my life was going. But I couldn't put a word on and say I'm in a domestically abusive situation. That never came to pass until um, I really decided to change my life. Um, the turning point was when I relocated to Delaware. I relocated to Delaware. I got a house in Delaware outside of Philadelphia. Um, and I wasn't with him. I had took a break because the abuse was just happening, and I was like, I can't. So I told him, that I needed some space, and I moved to Delaware, and that was probably one of the greatest things that
Hmm.
I did. And so he kind of got himself together too, and silly me, I decided to give him another chance. And so that only lasted all of 3 weeks. Um,
Okay.
it only lasted all of 3 weeks.
Yeah.
We moved into my house in Delaware, and we got into our last physical fight. And this fight, I fought for my life.
Oh no. Yeah.
And I realized then and there, it's like something just, I don't know what it was. That I thank God for the Holy Spirit, because something just clicked and was like, sis, you are in a domestically abusive situation and you need to get out. And I had lost like all this weight. I went on keto and I had lost all this weight. And I truly believe when you're eating right and you're feeding yourself the right things along with reading your word every day. And that was the type of time that I was on, because I was tired of going through what I was going through. I'm like, God, like I have this guy, we have great chemistry, but I just don't understand what it is that we're doing. And so the Lord had called me to go on keto. I wasn't thinking about losing weight or anything like that. I wasn't thinking about anything like that. But I will never forget, I was sitting in church, and my pastor at the time, he said to me, he said, the evidence of your season change is a shift in your appetite. And when he said that to me,
Mm.
something just broke in my spirit. And I was like, what? And so God said to me, I will never forget, God said to me, he said, you need to lose weight. And I was like, what does losing weight have to do with this? Like, what does it have to do with this? But I heard him clear as day. He said, you need to lose weight. So I was like, okay. So I started keto, and my mind got clear.
Clear. Yeah.
Mind got
Hmm.
sharp. Everything
Hmm.
just got real clear. And I was
Hmm.
able to think. I was able
Hmm.
to see things, the things that I could never see in the 2 years, I finally saw. It's like I had blinders on, and then I went on keto, and it was like, and I'm like, am I really? This is really, oh my God. Like it was crazy. It was crazy, literally an outer body experience. So my last fight with him. Um, God had finally given me the authority to look my abuser in his face and tell him. And with hands around my throat, I will never forget. He was choking me out, and I said to him, "I said, you're not going to kill me of domestic violence." Like, and I had never said that in the 4 years that we were together, because I could
Mm.
never identify or put a name on what I was
Yeah.
experiencing. But finally I had, God had finally, released me. And once I said that, it was just a piece that just fell on my house, a whole piece. And I looked him in his eyes and I was like, "You're not gonna kill me with domestic abuse." And I mean, I don't know what you're trying to do, but I'm gonna tell you now, you're not gonna kill me with domestic violence. And he left my house, and I have not seen him since then.
That's
Um,
incredible, incredible. I mean, I already know,
yeah.
many of it, but hearing it again, to me, you are showing us and telling us what freedom looks like, and sometimes freedom comes in little steps, and then it's completed.
Hmm.
And I
Hmm.
feel like you had all of those moments.
Hmm. Hmm. It was
Did you ever
literally.
go back to therapy at all?
So I'm in therapy now.
Mm.
I'm in therapy now, um, solely because of course, the domestic. That took me out of here. As It's so crazy because I'm grateful that I don't look, like what I've been. I'm literally, I am that statement. I don't look anything like what I've been through. But the inside, the internal me, um, is still working through a lot of stuff. Although my outside appearance is, God has completely changed me, and which I'm so grateful for. But the inside is just, whew. So I am in therapy now.
And you decided to go back. You made this choice now for
Yes,
yourself,
yes,
which means that you understand the importance of the healing process, that
yes,
it does continue on.
yes,
And
yes.
if you were in therapy 5 years ago, doesn't mean that you can't go back again, because I did that
Absolutely,
myself too, right?
absolutely, absolutely,
Right.
absolutely,
You have
absolutely.
some residual stuff and stuff to
Yes,
still continue to work out. Yeah.
yes, yes,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a definitely a crazy, crazy experience. But shortly after that, after getting free, I opened up my own hair salon in Philly, which was like, so I still can't believe I did that. Amazing. And then um, and then the Lord called me to move, and so I moved, and here I
Yeah,
am.
yeah, yeah. So, I know, these shows go so fast. I don't know if Dee has another question, but I mean, I believe you are giving just us and our audience an honest assessment of life,
Yeah,
and that even as Christians, right, that things aren't always going to be just lovely every minute of the day, but you are walking through life
yeah,
with the Holy Spirit told you about your appetite, and how interesting that is, that we are triune. We always talk about the triune God, but we are triune: body, soul, spirit. All of
all,
those things God
mm,
desires us to be healthy in,
yeah,
right? It's not just one,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
And you epitomize that.
yeah, yeah. It was different. I was when you're tired of going through what you're going through, it's almost like you don't have a choice but to just, okay, God, like this, all right, whatever you want me to do. And I had given up my own will because I was tired of me. Not only tired of me, I was just tired of the situation. And so I allow God to just lead me. And even things that I felt like were weird, things that I felt like, why do you have me doing this? What do you mean? I still am shocked that he chose keto of all things, to clear my mind. And that to me was just so amazing. But when you commit yourself truly,
That's
um
the word.
yeah, when you
That's the
commit
word.
yourself truly to Christ, he he he'll do exactly what he say. He will.
Yeah. Yeah.
He just will. And I'm grateful. I am. I'm so grateful. Had I not been, obedient, I don't think I would ever be here. I think just, as small as going on keto got me to Minnesota, and that was 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Um,
Wow.
so
Wow.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you have any questions before we
Mm.
or any comments coming in? And we love to hear those as well. And um
Chris said, "Freedom looks amazing on you. Proud of you, choosing to be better." And I don't know. My comment is just that, just the fact that you're still able to hear from God and not be bitter and still listen and be obedient, because sometimes those type of situations could, turn you away from
Yeah.
God, and you get angry. So I just think that that's a testimony in and of itself, to let people know that God is still with you, even in the midst of your struggles, even in the midst of your trauma, and to still have an open ear to what He's telling you. Because had you not been able to hear what He was telling you, who knows, if how long you would have stayed in the situation after that.
Mhm. Mhm.
that's
Mhm.
a good point, Dig.
And that's a great.
Yeah,
That is a great
it really
point.
is. It is.
I
Yeah.
will say that, to piggyback on that, um, what I went through with my abuser, of course, was not my fault. But I will say, again, that we are responsible for the things that happen to us after the fact. And because I didn't necessarily care to go to therapy after my sexual assault, I just felt like my spirit was just open. I didn't have any closure. I just,
Oh,
I was just doing, I was just doing and looking for love. And so I wound up in that trap.
Hmm.
Again, that if, it's not my fault, that he did what he did, but I will say, because I didn't have an emotion that was in check, which was wanting love from a guy. And this is beyond my sexual assault. I didn't have a father growing up. So all of that kind of just, all of that went into play. And so I find myself, a lot, you know, saying to myself, I have to have these emotions in check. I literally have to have these emotions in check, because if not, I will run into these situations over and over and over again.
yeah.
Um, and so, yeah, that's a
Yeah.
great point.
It is a
That's
great
definitely a
point.
great point.
And I
Yes,
really appreciate it. That's why I said she can ask some questions to just make you think,
yes,
you
yes.
know. I want to say that to our audience that can see us and hear us, that we have three women that are speaking to you that all have sexual assault and domestic assault issues, that have lived through it. Um, and so, we're the face of that. This is what this looks like. And none of us deserved it, but I am so thankful that Jazz has said something that's very profound. But we are responsible for our healing, and healing is possible. Jazz got on here and told her story without hesitancy. It's an amazing story. We have them. D has a story. Khadija has a story. I have a story, and we can tell our stories without now the fear of being embarrassed,
Yeah.
or, to be honest, we don't really care how you feel about it if you feel some kind of way about it, because we have lived through it, and
Yes.
we live victorious through
Yes.
it, and we
Yes.
will continue the work of healing. This
Yes.
show is about this healing moment for someone that is either in that space where Me Too space, or maybe have been in a domestic abuse situation, or in one now, and there is help out there. Tell somebody. We all had to tell somebody at some point, even when we didn't want to,
Somebody.
whether it
Yes.
was our best friend, our sister.
Yes.
But tell someone and get the help, because there is healing. There is healing for our soul. And it is the kind of healing that will have us to be bold enough to get on a radio station on a Sunday morning and tell our story and still be smiling about it.
Yes.
And I'll say look pretty good at the same time. I don't know about
Yes.
so Dee, I want you to close out today, if you don't mind.
Me?
Yeah.
Thank you for coming out. Good night, Sake. I want to remind you all to watch Sacred Space Ministries Friday on Facebook Live at 6:30 with Reverend B. Michelle Horton. Make sure you check that out. Make sure you go to bestiesbusiness.org and sign up for our TV station because we have more shows coming. And I just want to thank you all for watching. I hope that you were blessed. I hope that, we're, accomplishing our mission of this show to just, help with healing, just for our community. And if you need any help, we could put some resources if you're in a domestic situation. If you have some sexual trauma that, hasn't been addressed, we'll make sure we'll put some resources in our chat for that. So I just want to thank you for coming. Keep your ear open. Listen to the word of God in your life so that you can be blessed and you can have clear vision and clear understanding.
Yes.
Have a great Sunday. See you later.
See ya.
Thank you, Jazz.
Yes.